Hello, welcome back to another channel. I'm Erin. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, thank you for coming back. So today I'm going to be doing some makeup, although I have nowhere to go because of this quarantine, but I'm going to be doing some makeup because it's just relaxing. It's something to just kind of get away from all the stuff happening. And while I do that, I'm going to be talking about my top haunted house movies. So if you're interested in that, stick around. And please, if you feel like it, like and subscribe. Like this video and subscribe to the channel, and share to others that you feel will be interested in this topic as well. So I have 15 top or best haunted horror movies in my opinion, obviously, that I've seen. Obviously, this is just my opinion. This is not a definitive list. You might have some movies that you like better. This is just based on what I've seen of haunted house movies, or with that theme of a haunted house or haunted place, and how I would kind of not really rank them, but just which ones are my favorites. So yeah, this obviously is not going to be the say all be all of the best horror movies or best haunted house movies, but yeah, so it's just my opinion. I enjoy all of these movies, and you're welcome to have a different opinion. Okay, so let's get started with the list. There are so many good haunted house movies out there, so I narrowed it down to 15 for today, but I might do a part 2 later. And if I miss any, please leave them down in the comments below. But yes, so I do have some honorable mentions as well. But yeah, let's get started, and let me stop just talking on and actually get to the movies and the makeup. So I'm just going to show you some of the products I'm going to be using today first, and I'll also leave them down in the description box. But I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild Dewy Foundation today, as well as one of my favorite palettes of all time, the Ooh La La palette from ColourPop, which is just a monochromatic pink palette. I'm actually going to be trying to pan some of these. I don't know if I'll actually do that, but I do have some significant dents in some of these colors in here. So yes, I'm going to be using that, as well as trying out a new blush, which is in this cute little nail polish type bottle from Juicy Pang, their blusher, and it's also a purple color, so I'm going to see how that works out today. That's not a color of blush that I've ever used before. Base for the eyeshadow, just from the J-Cat, all about that base. Concealer is going to be ColourPop No Filter Concealer, and then powder, Milani, and whatever else I throw into, I'll leave it in the description box. Whatever other products I'm going to be using today. I've already prepped my face before, and so I'm just going to go straight into the eyes, which I like to do first with my eyeshadow base. So let me start with my list now. I do have some honorable mentions that may go on a list in a future video for best haunted house movies. So here's some honorable mentions. Not to say that I don't like these movies as well, but they just didn't make the list today. So I have The Grudge is one. That one's a really good sort of haunted house movie, and I'm talking about the US or American remake of that movie, because I have not seen the Japanese version, although I do really love Japanese media. I've seen Japanese movies before, but I just haven't seen that particular movie. Scary Movie 2 is one I also wanted to mention. Although this one is kind of a horror comedy spoof parody type movie, it does have kind of a horror haunted house trope within the story, and it's actually kind of making fun of one of the movies that's going to be on my list later, so that's one thing to note. A Tale of Two Sisters, which is a South Korean kind of haunted house mystery horror movie thriller, is very good, and actually The Uninvited is the American remake to that, and that one is also very good. The Grudge is also an honorable mention here, and my last honorable mention is What Lies Beneath, which I also greatly enjoy, although it is so long, but I do really like that movie. It's really good. Alright, so let's get started with the actual list. I'm going to have 15 of the top or best haunted house movies, and that I'm not excluding or I'm not going to only include horror movies. So if there's a good haunted house movie that's not a horror movie, that could be on the list as well. The majority are horror or thriller type of movies, but there are a few on here that are not going to be specifically just a horror movie. So just keep that in mind as we're going through the list. I'm going to go in with one of my favorite shades, Poodle, as we go into number 15 on my list, which is a movie called Haunter. It's a 2013 movie that I don't know if a lot of people know about it. I don't know if it was actually released in theaters or if it's a Netflix original, but I did watch it a few years ago on Netflix. And I have some notes here, so if you see me looking down over here, that's because I'm looking at my notes just to get the correct information on these movies. But yes, this movie Haunter is actually, I think, a really good hidden gem of a movie. Not the most well-made movie or the most not the best made movie on this list, but I think it's one that is very good, and it has a different sort of take on haunted house, because the movie who it's following is a teenage girl who realizes that she's dead and her whole family is dead as well. So we're following, our main character is a ghost, and she realizes that she's a ghost, and seemingly she's the only one in her family that realizes that they're dead. Nobody else in the family seems to recognize that they are dead. And so and also the family is stuck in a time loop. So they keep reliving the day that they died over and over and over again. So it's not the best haunted house movie out there in the whole world, but it's very good. I think it's one that is underrated and just like a hidden gem of a movie. And so the main character eventually realizes that she can talk to people in other timelines, and so she's going to go, in the movie, she's trying to help another family not meet the same fate as her family. So it's a really good movie, very good. There's kind of like, it's kind of not the best twist, but there is kind of a twist to it as well. So if you like movies with following a ghost as your character trying to help someone else, this is definitely the movie for you. Very good. Check it out. Alright, so next I'm going to go into softcore right there to soften out the edge of that first color, and I'm going to just use my brush cleaner to take that color off so I can dip into a new color. So the next one, number 14 on my list, and these movies are really kind of loosely ranked, although like my top like 2 or 3 are like some of my favorites, but the rest is kind of just loosely ranked. I did rank them based on my enjoyment, so the way they're ranked is kind of my enjoyment and kind of how they're made. But yeah, I enjoy all of these movies. So number 14 is going to be Paranormal Activity, which is a 2007 movie that follows a couple, Katie and Micah, who move into a new house and find themselves experiencing all of these supernatural events. And this is a found footage movie, and the found footage movie that kind of started to make this genre really, really popular, along with obviously Blair Witch Project. But yeah, it kind of boosted that craze into that found footage type of movie. And there's cameras all around the house to capture these supernatural events. And this one I like because it's just kind of scary within its own right with what they were doing, and that found footage type of style really adds to the scariness of the movie. Found footage is not my favorite type of horror movie, but I really do enjoy this one. It's really good, and I really love the ending. It gives you a nice shock, so that's why Paranormal Activity is number 14 on my list. Next, I'm just going to deepen out the outer quarter with, Caddy here, sort of purplish color here, like a plum color. Number 13. Let's move on to number 13. Number 13 is The Sixth Sense. Now, this is a very, very good movie. Obviously, it's one I enjoy, but it's number 13 on my list. And here's why. It's a 1999 movie, that follows a young boy named Cole, played by Haley Joel Osment, who was a very popular child actor, obviously. And this young boy named Cole believes that he can see and speak to dead people. So his mom hires a psychologist, and they kind of form this unlikely bond friendship. And, you know, this movie is one by Shyamalan, so we know you're going to have a twist. And the twist in this movie is actually very good. Even though it's been kind of become pop culture knowledge what the twist is, it's still just great to watch this movie and see, man, how did you miss that twist the first time you saw it? A very good movie, very well acted by our actors, and it's one that I just can enjoy it every single time I watch it. Not my most favorite movie of all time, but a really good movie, very enjoyable and very well done. Plus, it has one of the most quoted lines from a movie ever. I see dead people. I mean, everybody knows that line, even if you haven't seen the movie. All right, number 12 for the list is 1408, a psychological horror movie based on a short story by Stephen King. You know, the King, Stephen King. I love Stephen King. I think I mentioned this before. He's one of my favorite authors, and I do really enjoy his the adaptions that come from his books. But anyway, this one's a bit different because we have a hotel room that is haunted by the events that have occurred in it. And we have this Arthur who investigates supposedly haunted places, and he decides to go ahead and check into the this room 1408 in this famous hotel in New York. And he doesn't really believe in all of the supernatural events, but once he gets into this room, some very strange, scary things start occurring to him. So it's a very good movie, well done. It came out in, when did it come out? Early 2000s. I don't remember the exact year, but it's really well done. It has great acting in here. It has Samuel L. Jackson in here, which he's always fun to watch. So yeah, this one is a really great movie to pop in. It has some pretty decent scares, and the ending is always a trippy one that you're just like, huh? What? So yeah, if you haven't checked out 1408, definitely check that one out. It's a really good movie. That looks okay, but I think, let me do it on the other side, but I think I'm going to put something else underneath it and then put that on top, because that's not really showing up the best. I should have knew that. I've used this palette 1,000 times. But yeah, I'm going to have to, or maybe it's this brush. That sucks. Okay, I'm going to put Big Sugar down first and then put Tickled on top. Yeah, let me do that while I talk about number 11, which is Poltergeist, a 1982 movie with a story by Steven Spielberg. Another Steven on here. Well, yeah. Stephen King, Steven Spielberg. What? Okay. It's a family that is, we're following a family with the mom, Diane, dad, Steve, and their 3 children, Donna or Dana, I don't know how to pronounce it, Robbie, and the youngest, Carol Ann. And they move into this house, or they're in this house. I don't know if they moved into it, but they're in this house, and they realize that they're not the only inhabitants of this house. There's also some other presence in their house. Ghosts, spirits, however you want to call it. And at first they think that they're kind of harmless, they're playing around, they're having fun with it, until Carol Ann starts talking to them in the TV and eventually goes missing. So her family hires an exorcist to help them get Carol Ann back. This one is a classic. I mean, what else is there to say about why this is on the list? It's such a well-done movie, and such a well-done movie that is not necessarily super scary, but just very well done, very like creepy, and just one that's very enjoyable for like the whole family to watch. Yeah, so the family's trying to get Carol Ann back, and they are going through all of these supernatural and scary events within their home. So this one's another great one. check out, and that's why it comes at number 11 on my list of best haunted house movies. All right, let's go ahead and get into number 10 as I take Tickled and put that over on top of that other shimmer. All right, so number 10 on my list is Beetlejuice. Now this one obviously is not a horror movie, but it's one that is super duper good. Such a good movie to watch. Let's get into what is it about. It is a 1988 fantasy comedy directed by Tim Burton. Of course, Tim Burton. The story revolves around a couple that is recently deceased, and this family that moves into their home, and they don't want them there, so they hire this really annoying ghost for hire, Beetlejuice, to basically scare this family and get them out of their house because they're not able to do it themselves. So this one's a classic as well. It has some of the most iconic imagery and story and acting from our main actors in this movie. That's just very memorable and just a great fun movie to watch with the whole family. It's one of my favorites and one I've watched since childhood, since I was young, and it's just one that is just so enjoyable. I really love all the characters in the movie, although some of them are annoying, and Beetlejuice is just such an iconic character. He's just super obnoxious and annoying, but very well acted, of course, obviously. So that one is a great one. I think most people have probably seen or heard of Beetlejuice, but if you haven't seen it, go and watch it. It's really good. But yeah, that's number 10 on my list is Beetlejuice. All right, so number 9 on my list is an older movie, a 1959 movie called The House on Haunted Hill. This one is obviously an older movie, but still a very enjoyable haunted house type movie. So the plot of this is that we're following a man named Frederick Lauren who invites 5 people to this house, this kind of mansion, to spend the night. And it's a possibly haunted house, so that's the kind of catch here. And if they can survive the night, each of them will receive $10,000 each. So we're following this these 5 people throughout, plus Frederick and I believe his wife. Yeah, it was his wife. And this movie has a lot of good twists to it. It's very it's engaging. Even though it's an older movie, you're going to be evolved into the story. You're going to be paying attention and trying to figure out what's actually going on in this house. Is this house really haunted? And will the guest make it through the night? It's a very good story. Very well done. Very well acted. And one you should definitely check out if you haven't seen it. It is older, but that doesn't take away from the greatness of the movie. So, The House on Haunted Hill, 1959. Check it out if you haven't seen it. I believe there's been a remake to this as well. I think one that's more modern I haven't seen, but yeah, that's something you might want to check out as well. If you want something more modern, I think there is a remake as well. Alright, number 8 is going to be Insidious, one of the more recent movies on this list. This one came out in 2010, created by James Wan and Lee Winnell. It follows a couple whose son falls into a coma, and these sort of beings and spirits within this couple's home is trying to trap the son in a realm called the Further. So this one's a really great one. When it came out in 2010, I think it just had a lot of instant fans because it is so good. We get great acting, we get an awesome story, and we do get some really scary scenes. Something that's always stuck with me from this movie is the scene where the father is sitting talking to, I believe, his mom, and that sort of red demon pops up behind him. That one always kind of scared me. That scene always scared me, as well as the ending scene. Oh, as well as the ending scene. The ending scene is very good. Where, well, I won't spoil it, but the end is really awesome too. It gives you a shock So yeah, if you haven't seen that movie, definitely check out Insidious. It became an instant classic. So many people love it, and it spawned 3 sequels as well. So yeah, check that one out. It's really good. Alright, so number 7 is going to be the Amityville Horror. Now, Amityville Horror is just a movie I grew up with. Again, not the best movie on this list, and actually, surprising to me, it actually has kind of a low rating on like sites like Rotten Tomato and stuff like that. I don't think it deserves that kind of a low of a rating, but it's one I grew up with. It's definitely not the best movie on here, but I think it's really, really good. And it follows the Lutz family. So it's based on supposed true story of the Lutz family that moved into the Amityville house, cue the title Amityville Horror, and their alleged events that happened there, these creepy, scary events of the house being possessed by demons or ghosts or whatever, and their sinister motives, trying to get the father to hurt his family. So obviously this one is based on a very publicized, sensationalized story, and the movie is actually really good to me. It's pretty scary, and the performances are fairly good, fairly strong. I really enjoy the movie. I think it's good, and I also enjoy the remake as well. I think the remake is really good too. I think both versions, the one from 1979 and the one made in the early 2000s, they're both very, very good. So if you haven't seen Amityville Horror, check that out. It's a very good story. A lot of these movies on this list actually have to do with the Warrens, because they do these haunted house and exorcist type things. So this one also had the Warrens involved with it, as well as another one on the list, which is going to be number 6, The Conjuring. So The Conjuring is a 2013 film set in 1970 and follows the parents' family and their 5 children. So this family has recently moved into a new home that's kind of isolated, and they feel that they're being tormented by spirits, ghosts, demons that are haunting this house. This one's very scary too. This one was really an instant classic as well when it came out in 2013. And I think a lot of people became instant fans of this one because of the way it was done. It's not just your typical haunting movie, and the fact that it has some basis in real life, because this is a real family and these are supposed real events, makes it even more interesting to the audience, in my opinion. So you have some interesting characters to really care about, the family, as well as some good scares. This makes for a great haunted house movie. So that one is number 6 on my list. Now we're getting to the top 5, which are kind of like my favorites on this list. And I'm going to go into number 5 on my list, which is The Others, which is a 2001 movie about a young woman named Grace and her 2 children, her young 2 children, a boy and a girl, who are waiting. The young woman is waiting for her husband to return from the final days in World War II. So she's waiting for her husband to return from the war, and she's kind of waiting in vain, which you'll see in the movie. So her and her children live in this big Victorian mansion, this beautiful home, and all of their servants have just disappeared. So she hires 3 new servants to take over the chores and jobs in the house. And soon the children start experiencing some bizarre events, some strange things, and they think that it's ghosts or spirits that are trying to communicate with them. Grace doesn't believe at first, but eventually she starts to realize the children are telling the truth. So we have this question, is the house haunted? And what do these 3 new servants have to do with it? This one has a really great twist at the end, super great. I won't spoil anything, but awesome movie. Came out in 2001, so if you haven't seen it, definitely check this one out. And it has Nicole Kidman in it, and she always does great. So great acting, great story, very good ending, and just one that I think the whole family can enjoy. So it does have some kind of horror elements, but it's not super scary, but it's just a great movie overall. One of my favorites for sure to watch, and I grew up watching that one. as well. All right, so number 4 is actually a movie that I think should get more recognition, and also is just one that's just really great to watch, which is Stir of Echoes, a 1999 movie starring Kevin Bacon, and it follows a man and his family after the main character, gets some hypnosis done by his sister-in-law, his inexperienced sister-in-law, might I add. She doesn't really know what she's doing, but she hypnotizes him. And after this, he starts to see visions of a young girl. And he doesn't know why he's seeing these visions or what this girl wants at first. But this mystery just really kind of almost drives him a little mad, as he's just trying to figure out what is this girl trying to say to me? What is this ghost trying to say to me? And this ghost is just haunting him with visions and coming to his house and in his dreams. So as he's trying to solve this mystery, it really creates a rift and problems between him and his wife, and also him and his friends. So this one's a really great one. And Kevin Bacon, obviously, such a good actor. He does a really great job with this. Yeah, it's a really great movie. It has some good twists. You probably can see these twists coming for sure in this movie, but don't let that stop you from watching. It's very, very good, and it still can surprise you at the end. So yeah, very good movie. Definitely recommend it. It's number 4 on my list, and probably one of my favorite movies. This type of movie with haunted houses or haunted people. So definitely check that one out. Yes, definitely doesn't get definitely doesn't get enough recognition. But yeah, Stir of Echoes is number 4. Alright, now we're in the top 3. I'm going to go ahead and go in with this blush. I just want to see, actually, you know what, I'm going to do my lower lash line first, and then I'll go in with the blush. I'm very excited to see what this blush is going to do. But for my lower lash line, I'm just going to kind of put a solid color, smoke it out, and call it a day. Alright, so top 3 are kind of like my favorites here. 2 of them are older movies. Well, they're all kind of older, but 2 of them are like super duper old. So the number 3 is The Haunting. This is a 1963 movie, based on the novel The Haunting of Hill House. And so it follows a group of people invited to a house to investigate this supposed haunted house, very much similar to The House on Haunted Hill, which it's based on a book called The Haunting of Hill House. So I don't know if they're based on the same book, those 2 movies, the one that was number 9 on my list and this one, but they have a very similar plot, which is these group of people come into a house to investigate if the house is haunted. What's different about this one is we're kind of following the main character of Eleanor. Yeah, actually the plot is different, but it has the same premise of the people coming to investigate. But this one is about Eleanor. So Eleanor is in this group, and we're kind of following her. She's kind of our main character here, and she just feels this connection with the house, and the movie is just really well done. Throughout the movie, we're following Eleanor and her connection with the house, and it's a very compelling story. So after you watch this film will just really stay with you, and it has a really great ending as well with our main character that's kind of, don't want to spoil too much, but it's a bit tragic. So if you've never seen this one and you're interested in movies that are a little bit older but very much still enjoyable, definitely check this one out. So yeah, that one, The Haunting, 1963. This one was also remade in a movie that was pretty much critically panned by most critics. It wasn't really well received, but I also grew up watching that one. I actually watched that one before this one, obviously because it's more close to my generation and you know, when I was born. But this one is much better. The 1963 version is just leagues better than the one, the remake. So yeah, definitely check out this one first and then watch, or if you've already seen the remake, check this one out and see which one you like better. But yeah, very good story, awesome cast, and very well done. Alright, not gonna do much with the lower lash line. Yay, it looks like I'm sick. Definitely the look I'm going for. Alright, let's go into this blush as I go into number 2, which is also a movie from the 1960s. It is The Innocents, a brilliant movie, which is why it came in number 2 for me. Based on a story by Henry James called The Turn of the Screw. It's released in 1961, and it follows a young woman who accepts a position as a governess for 2 children. So over the course of the film, she becomes convinced that the children are possessed by ghosts, and also the house and the grounds are possessed by ghosts, and she believes it's the old governess and someone else that used to work at the estate. And so she's convinced that the children are haunted and also the house is haunted. And it's very well done how they do the movie, because we don't really know, is it really haunted, the way that the movie is done. And we are following this governess who is just convinced that these children are being haunted, and so she's trying to protect the children from these ghosts. The story and movie are just so well done. Very, very good. Very well done. And so this movie has a really awesome ending as well. And it leaves the viewer really questioning, like, is this house and the children, were they really haunted? Or was it all in the mind of this governess? Was she making it all up? And we don't really know the answer to that question. And so the viewer is kind of just left to just come up with the answer themselves. So it's up to you to figure out, was it the house really haunted, or was it all in her imagination? And both scenarios are kind of certainly possible with the way that they shot the movie. You don't really know nothing really happens that confirms that the house is haunted, but also a lot happens that it could be haunted. And a lot happens where it could have, the way they filmed it, it could have all been in her mind. So it's a very, very good movie. Definitely check it out. Really great acting from the main actress that plays the governess. She did an awesome job. I don't have any names written down in my notes, just a couple. But yeah, the main actress did an awesome job with that role. And she really did make you believe that she was feeling just conflicted and worried about these kids, while also seeming kind of mad, you know, which, you know, is possible when you have someone claiming that there's ghosts. So yes, very, very good show, and also has that kind of trope of the creepy kids talking to people that are not there, all that kind of that jazz. So yeah, very good movie. This one was also just recently remade. I think the movie it came out this year, 2020. I think it's called The Turning of the Screw, or The Turn of the Screw. It's based on the same story. I haven't seen it, but I heard a lot of people didn't love the movie, so there's that. But yeah, this one's really good. So check out the 1963 version. Awesome movie. All right, let's get to number 1 on the list of top haunted house movie. All right, let's get to number 1. As I finish up my makeup, I went ahead and put some brow gel through my eyebrows, which is my go-to thing when I don't want to do my brows for real, which is like always. And I also put on some highlight, the ColourPop Super Shock Cheek Glitter in Spellbound. This one has a lot of glitter in it, which is not necessarily my favorite thing, but it does have kind of like this purple reflect, which is probably not picking up on camera, and that kind of goes with the purple blush. The blush really, yeah, not showing up very great. It is from, I believe, a South Korean brand, and so they are, yeah, definitely Korean. There's Korean writing on the bottom. So Koreans are really known for like light, natural more looking, so I kind of assumed it wasn't going to be super pigmented, but I'm not getting purple from it on the cheeks. It kind of have sheared out to very light. It almost looks pink, but anyways, I paired that kind of purpley highlighter with it since the blush was kind of purple. Alright, so I'm going to finish up with a setting spray and lips as I talk about the number 1 movie on my list for haunted house or haunted place movies that I've seen. So I'm going to go ahead and go on with my setting spray. I'm going to use the e.l.f. Makeup Mist and Set. There we go. I like to go a little ham with the setting spray. I love the finish it gives. I'm going to go over that with the beauty sponge. It's not a beauty blender, but go over that with my sponge. Cute. Alright, I haven't really picked out a lip. I haven't got that far with my thought process today. So I'm just going to pick something random, maybe something pink. But number one on the list, okay, probably should come as no surprise, The Shining. From 1980, an instant classic. Based on, again, a story by Stephen King. The Shining is definitely one of my favorite movies of all time. It's just one that's really well done, in my opinion. Stanley Kubrick, obviously one of the best directors out there. But yeah, this one is a 1980 movie based on the book of the same name by Stephen King. The movie follows Jack Torrance, his wife Wendy, and their son Danny as they head to the Overlook Hotel, which is this isolated hotel in the mountains, as Jack is going to be the new caretaker throughout the winter. So they get to this hotel, and this hotel is home to a very sinister presence, and all of these very horrific things that happen at the hotel are still living on there and tormenting this family. Mainly Jack. It is trying to mess with him and get into his mind and mess with his psyche and mess with him with the goal for him to kill his family. So this is a classic one. I think most people recognize this movie or know of this movie. But yeah, so his young son Danny has The Shining. So that's the name of the movie, obviously, in the book. And The Shining is basically this psychic ability, and Danny's able to see some past events that happened at this hotel, as well as some future things. And this hotel is also trying to get Danny. It kind of almost wants to feed off of his shining, and so it wants to get his dad to kill him and his mom Wendy. One of the most classic haunted house movies out there, which we have a haunted hotel again, and the whole hotel is haunted. It's not just a room like 1408, which was also by Stephen King, but yeah, the whole hotel is haunted. It's a sinister place, and it repeats this sort of history where the caretaker kills his family. So this has happened before, as well as other horrific events that have happened at this hotel that have imprinted themselves on the hotel, and are kind of what Danny sees with his psychic ability, The Shining. So very good movie. Some of the most iconic scenes and scares in horror history. Very awesome performances by everyone involved. Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall obviously did an awesome job. Some people don't like Shelley Duvall's performance. I don't mind it. I like it. I think it works perfectly. And this one is well known that Stephen King doesn't like the adaptation that well, although I think he's came around a little bit more nowadays. But this is an obviously well done movie. Very great movie. And it's number 1 on my list of top haunted house or haunted place movies that I've seen. So yeah, I've been talking. I'm gonna go ahead and use the Disney Designer Collection Luxe Liquid Lips in the shade Prince Charming. This is kind of a bit lighter than light for me, but I'm gonna use a lip liner to kind of make up for that. But yeah, this one, yeah, that movie is just one of my favorites. Definitely, if you haven't seen it, you need to see it. And I'm pretty sure it's number 1 on a lot of people's list for haunted house movies or haunted place movies. Alright, so that's that lip color on there. Oof. Don't know if I like that. I might switch that lip color later. But anyways, thank you for watching this video. Do you agree with my list of haunted house movies? If so, express your agreements down below. Or if not, tell me your top haunted house or haunted place, horror, or in general, your top haunted house movies down below in the comments. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I really would appreciate it. And also subscribe if you want to subscribe, if you want to see more videos. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day, and see you later.